Greetings and welcome. I'm Psychic Medium Roberto, and I truly hope you're doing well today. I'm guided by Spirit, and today I'm recording July 17, early bells. Trigger warning: the subject matter is of a mature nature and deals with true crime events. Disclaimer: all cases are treated as alleged until proven in a court of law. And before we get into today's episode, I just want to give a present thoughts to Shannon and her family and friends and colleagues that grew up watching her over the years, who unfortunately has just recently succumbed to her cancer battle. And today's episode, we are going to be continuing the series of Catherine Middleton, and this is number 12, and also an update on Anne Princess Royal. And I just want to say to everyone that's been watching and sending comments, and thank you very much. Appreciate all your comments and feedback. It's heartwarming. And for those who are throwing daggers, thank you for the encouragement to continue, because unfortunately we are being hoaxed and some people are still sleeping. But let's not wake up sleeping dogs, right? So let's start the show with, I'm going to do an update with Anne Princess Royal. Based on our previous calendar, where we were looking at events that transpired, like the dagger sequence. Anne has now since gone back to work according to the fodder machine, July 12, 2024, which was at a charity function, low-key I would imagine, because when I did a search for the event, very little or almost nothing came up, which is fine. Maybe it is a low-key event, but one would imagine if Anne was out and about, there would be at least one paparazzi around. So let's have a look and see what happened here on Friday the 12th, right? Because that's when the event took place. Now, what I tried to do was, with Anne's date of birth, to see if we see her on this day. And I will do a double check now, but as far as I can see, the only connection number is the 8. I acknowledge that. And the 8 here. Now, that for me is not enough to say presence of someone, right? Or at least there should be another number to get us in the picture, right? So that is the one thing I'm not seeing. What this day is telling me, based on the previous theories, there's a transactional element in play. And if we go back to the original slide, the day that the event happens, and we'll be thorough as possible, 19-10-1. We got the 10-1 here, slightly different, but in the zone. But if we want to be specific, so here's the issue. And the issue is still about Kate. And let me bring in Kate here quickly. I'm just going to get back into the flow, and in the flow, I've been away for 3 days. It also gave me a good opportunity to detox, come out fresh, see what we have. So 12-3, of course, pings on Catherine. And I must say, I wasn't really surprised when I saw Kate arrive in the center arena. What did interest me was when the first initial steps that she runs up, because she literally kind of ran up those steps, then getting to the platform where she turns right and then turns left down the stairs. She took a quite healthy steps up those stairs, looking healthy and good. But the outcome here for Friday still speaks about there's treachery here. Reflected here as well, the same numbers. And then supposedly when she returns home in the energy flow, same numbers. I do confirm I'm not a conspiracy theorist, although I will say I've watched many conspiracy theorist videos over time, but I'd rather just stick with the facts and figures here. Alright, so we still got Kate in the upfront center piece here. And as mentioned, the 27, 9, 18, 9 are still reflecting. So what I'm going to say is, when we dip into a timeline with people, taking into account who the people are, well, let's just say not necessarily by royalty what I mean. So who are the people? We got Anne and we got fake Kate, right? Now, when you dip into a timeline of events, now in the case of Anne, we are looking at the news that breaks. She has succumbed to an injury. Okay? So when we dip into her timeline, we are picking up still treacherous numbers. And in my opinion, I don't believe Anne was at this event. Now, the one or two pictures that I did see were medium and medium close-up shots. So there's never a picture of in the event itself, but close-up, so the background is a little bit blurred. You can prove me wrong, send me some pictures or send feedback, but when I looked at the information around this event, I didn't find anything except for 2 photographs and a blurb. Interesting to note. Now, what I've done is the +3, +6, +9. This is a new discovery for me. Of course, we've all been, well, let me rather say, of course, I've been aware of the +3 reflection, which gives us the reflection. But in numerology, there's cycles and universal numbers. And I will explain these numbers in the up-and-coming 27 Club book that I'm almost ready to complete, actually. I have been working on that as well. But we get these reflections of what is happening on this particular day, yeah, Friday the 12th. So these numbers give us information. And on +6, we get there is a murder. And who do we look at? 25, 7, 16, 7. I'm not making this up. And this year, of course, the 15-6 will ping on Anne. But it's also saying murder 33-6. By someone familiar, older male. These are your standard building blocks at a crime scene. Okay? I'm not a, what do you call them? Conspiracy theorists. For example, I'm not going to talk about the significance of the purple in the dress for the Illuminati and them cockroaches. Stumbled upon this picture in the search. Coincidence. She's got the same jersey on, clenched hands. I mean, I read some of your comments about Kate always trying to send signals, because we know she's a human being, right? Well, let's say started out as a human being, right? I mean, look at this. This was recent, eh? Cancer's obviously treated her better than most. And I will just say, and we're getting into Kate now, I'm not going to base my argument on this nonsense, right? This is what I'm saying. When I did the original episode 1 of the Kate Middleton show, I experienced the most terrible dread, and I believe I'd only experienced that once before. Or let's say very close to it, right? In my early days on the channel, I was fully open energy-wise, psychic-wise, medium-wise. I would do numerology in the background, but wasn't part of the presentation per se. It wasn't a main focus. And during the murder of Natalie Wood, and I would invite you to watch the video if you want. It only happened twice on all the videos. It happened twice, actually. Natalie Wood and my very first episode of Summer Wells. Those were the only 2 episodes where I felt dread, like murderous dread, right? And by the way, if I need to sell you one more bit of nugget for Natalie Wood, the experience I experienced with Natalie was her being in the water, so I was drowning. Or let's put it this way, let me backtrack one step. I was thrown in water, but I came out of my unconsciousness underwater. That's the experience I had with Natalie Wood. I believe the shock of the water would have awoken her from the unconsciousness, and they may have or may have not assumed she was dead, but they certainly tried to get rid of her, right? But in my experience, I believe Natalie Wood awoken in the water and therefore drowned in the water. Was the most ghastly feeling I've ever had in my life. And the very first episode I did of Catherine here, apparently I'm not going this route, 2005, Catherine and her sister here, watching William play rugby. Found a lovely picture of Princess Diana again. The dread has returned. So let's continue with the Royal Hoax Show calendar. Now, of course, here's the day Catherine was seen at Wimbledon. So if we had to get picky, the day starts with a 14-5, right? This is the beautiful thing about numerology. Of course, when the news broke at the end of last week, hey, she's going to be at the Wimbledon final, great. We see her at the men's final, great. So here we are, 14-5. So there's already a bit of lies in the air. The bullshit has risen. And I spent, since I would imagine Sunday late there on till this morning, trying to decode what we are experiencing and witnessing right in front of our eyes. So, and one of the answers that I received through Spirit is sometimes the answers are right in front of us, right? Unless she's healed beautifully, but I'm not seeing any puncture wounds along veins here either. Or she may have taken the pill version. So, long story short, enter Dolly. And I'm thinking, how is this possible? Because on episode 1, I've never felt as dreadful a feeling as I had as mentioned with the previous 2 shows. So Dolly, untouched, born on July 5th, 1996, Dolly. The first known clone. 75123. Now, if we look on July 14th, 75123. I'm not making it up. Not making it up. Now, let me explain something about the positioning of numbers. So let's take this exact example. The numbers that are highlighted here, 7, 5, 12, 3. And also in the same position, there's a hidden 21-3 manipulation, remember? Manipulation. So the block that's actually in red here, this is the numbers, how people see us in the day. So if you like, this is the open numbers, right? This is how people see you. The numbers on the right-hand side is in the main numbers that come out when we are at home. So we can say we present ourselves to the world with these numbers. But when we get home, we're in our own space, we're in our safe space, and we can be 100% ourselves, if you want to look at it that way, right? So what we present to the world are those numbers. So we presented on this day the birth of Dolly. Now let's talk about the 145, right? When you bring in 4, 4 is human anatomy. More so, it is the functionality of the human body. And when you get a 14-5 like this, we're talking there's a perversion, there's a manipulation, there's a lie. Okay? 5 is also bullshit. 5 is human interference. This is the thing about numerologies, in particular 5s. 5s, the only reason why 5s can be nasty, doesn't mean all 5s, we all have a choice. 5 is what humans do. Corruption, fraud, all the ugly things that humans do, right? Okay. Now, we can say coincidence. Coincidence. So let's get verification. The outcome of Dolly, we see here is a 28, 10, 1, 19, 10, 1, 10, 1, 1. So that's the footprint or thumbprint or fingerprint, if you like, of Dolly. Now, interestingly, the night before the final, men's final, the night before, the 13th, so this is when the women's final took place, right? We have a fingerprint, 28, 10, 1, 19, 10, 1, 10, 1, 1. Coincidence or not? So what is this telling us here, these numbers? So if we go on a biological, and I just feel sick when I see this number now. 28, right? Two biologies. 2 biologies. And we're going to come back to this here. I'm glad now, and I took a screen grab of I was waiting, I found this video pretty much 24 hours after the event, because I've been snooping for the past 2 days as well. Let's get facts right. Look at her eye line, she's not looking at Pippa. The excuse given here at this situation, and I'm going to show you this video as well just now, because I quickly got it. We will get you, I'll remind you, but Kate's actions here. I will explain what I mean when I get there. Very peculiar. Very peculiar. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. So we got 2 anatomies in a sense, if you like. Even in that sounds horrible, right? So there's a buildup of energy here, 10, 1. Now, if you want to get on a, not to upset any ultra Christians, thank you for watching. I believe we should not limit ourselves and be available and learn what all the other mumble jumble is about. Just as reference anyway. 19, 10, 1. Now, this is now getting on an interpersonal level, right? we can say people are playing God here. Because this 9 on a human, on a let's say, I meant to say on an individual level, speaks about the higher self. So if you want to stretch the elastic a little bit, you can say the God self, right? So they're creating these little monsters here. It's a theory, but because we have evidence of proof of a similar event, I'm not equating Catherine to Dolly and vice versa. That's not the point. We're looking at the numbers, what is going on here. So I want to just put you into perspective now with these reflections. So that's the number sequences leading up, right? Beg your pardon. So in the reflection zone of +3, I beg your pardon, let me just do that, my OCD kicking in. So we've got your +3, and that gives us the first reflection here. Look at all these out of sync 8s. This is not a joke. This is chaos here. So all we can say, another word, because chaos can mean many things. Let's say, because we talk in biology, this is not natural or not normal. Reflection. And what do we have in the middle here? A perversion of a human. So what do we got here? And I mentioned this in the previous videos. Trooping of the colors, 15-6, right? 6 is the number for human. The 15-6 to get there, because we're talking biology, the 15 is the interference, manipulation, hands in, if you like, that brings around this human. And in the reflection, we have a 14-5, which is reflected in the day of the event. Bullshit. Lies. Fakery. I will say again, I never had as a bad dread feeling as I did when I did that first show looking at the death week in December. I'm not a popcorn machine, I'm not a candy floss vendor, and I'm certainly not a fortune teller. So I have a theory and I need to test it, so that we can take it with a pinch of salt, but I want to bring it into play, because having realized this clone possibility or in play, this 20 may have a different, this pink 20 with an outcome 2 may have a different significance in the sequence. But the messaging I'm getting so far last night when I was meditating on these charts was this fake human walking around here, this emotion thing. But I'll develop it further, so I'm not going to go too much into that. I'll stick to what I know so far. But on the +6 reflection, we have this thing. 27-9, we can say engineered, because look at all these 8s, engineered. It's a abomination, 358. So in this case, we can say abomination. Let me just say as well, because what do they do with it afterwards? The 35-8 is very, very violent, destructively so, on the human biology at the end of the sequence. But building up to the sequence is collective. There's more than just two elements that they're putting together here, right? So there's two genes or two biology elements, but now they're adding 3, 5 to get the 8. 3 actually, because 3 actually speaks to knowledge. 3 actually speaks to knowledge here. Because 8 is knowledge, but 3 is knowing of the knowledge. Wow, who would have thought we'd be watching Star Trek? Anyway, 369. Oof. There's bad manipulation going on here, ladies and gentlemen. However, in this reflection sequence, I've discovered a new number, 23.5. And I wanted to check it before I started recording, but I was told to start. I'm glad I remembered, because this 9 here, I suppose I'd have to, that's what the issue is. That's what the issue is. Give me 1 second here. Because we're overlapping, I believe. So it was generated and woke up here. Gosh, man. No tin hats for me, please. I want to just bring in this day here as well, because this will give us more information. Because I'm not getting the full picture here. Something's missing. Something's missing. And I will be honest, I have been monitoring energy-wise Catherine since the event till even this morning. I'm getting odd stuff, must be honest. So let's just, while I'm bringing out these numbers, and apologies here, but let's just consider one other element as well. And I'm not a behaviorist. I'm not a body language specialist. But just from common knowledge or decency, let's say, if you've been away ill for 6 months, right? And you know the whole of the British society and the world is waiting to hear updates, what is happening. So we've heard zero information on the health issue. And by all respects, it's her wishes, let's say. But then appears at 2 events, Wimbledon and the trooping of the colours, right? Learning my British stuff here. It might be on a different trooping of the colours, yeah. But the presentation, what I'm getting to is the presentation, how she enters society again. It's like business as usual. Like nothing has happened. Where millions and millions of people are wondering, let's not even go there. Let's say, how is Catherine? And then we get bombarded by these 2 images. The one on the balcony didn't look that convincing. This one looked very convincing. But I'll show you this video now. And then that did it for me. But we also have numbers. I have received some spiritual stuff, and it's not very pleasant, unfortunately. So let's see, rolling into the 8. Now you see we have here's the hint of it, 37, 10, 1, 19, 10, 1 as well. Look there. So what is going on here? And we'll get to that eventually. Because I must say, not necessarily in this episode, but what I'm going to say, I've been monitoring energy around there since Sunday. And I will say there was a big, massive block, I would say, during the first 24 hours. Like a massive block. It kind of started settling as time went on and more accessible. But definitely dark arts, right? These mofos. Let's just see here. So we got pinging, ponging all over the place here. Manipulation going on. Definitely not good. So this video here, and now I'm going to have to just do the voice here, but I'll show you this video. Now, the rationale behind this situation, if you haven't seen it, and I'll show you the video, I'll just give you context. Carlos is leaving now to continue his walk as the winner. We will also note, now I'll show you as much of the video as possible. I'm just worried about copyright, but anyway, we'll have a look. Note the banners preventing people from accessing Catherine. Okay. When you see the reverse of this angle, in other words, and let me just point it out here, looking behind Kate. Yes, there is Pippa, but there's another small woman standing just behind Pippa. And I believe this is where she was looking at.
Former Chairman Ian Hewitt in the background as this conversation takes place, and look at Charlotte.
It's non-stop, but I have a few days to stay at home a little bit, family, friends, to relax a little bit, but it's non-stop. Thank you. Morada para la pinta más es always good. 67 centimeters. Thank you very much. Enjoy the win. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I don't believe Pippa might have said something, but it certainly rattled Kate. And if you are an energy person, if you see aura as well, what I pick up from this event here concurs for me, what this is going on here, in that I'm not seeing a future for her and not necessarily a past, because she gets completely rattled here. She goes right and then goes left and then talks, but the energy that brought around that. Now, in my opinion, and I watched it several times, there's nothing in here from an energy, so when I look at people, and I don't believe I may have shared this before, if I look at people, I can switch, if you like, and see color around them, see aura, pictures. And in that moment, because I was looking for that hint, and it was here. And it's almost like she opens herself up, energy-wise, spiritual-wise, and there's like nothing. It's all black. It's like there's no future, no past. That's my opinion. And my cousin, when she passed from cancer, and I spent significant enough, I wasn't first responder, first periphery, because she's at the coast, I'm up here in Joburg, but she had lovely blonde hair. And, unfortunately, you lose these things, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but not everyone loses their hair. But I'm grateful that she is, whoever this is, she is looking fantastic. Fantastic. Even saw her running up the steps into this arena. Anyway, we are enjoying the puppet show, but we will certainly get to the bottom of this eventually. Yep. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I have for you on the Anne Princess Royal and Kate update. Please share your comments, your thoughts. I do engage with them, do appreciate them, love your feedback. Stay safe, stay alert. Donald Trump coming soon.